What is this interesting video?
I want you to open your HSR account right now and compare your old units with your newer units. Notice anything different? Your old units are mostly E0S1 or even E0S0, but your modern units are mostly E2S1 or E1S1. Without even realizing it, the way you pull has completely changed because HSR is slowly changing from the inside out. And there's so many other things in HSR that has changed as well that you might not even notice. Let's break it down one by one, starting with how Hoyo handles anniversary units. Technically, the first ever anniversary unit is Acheron, but Hoyoverse was not fully invested in anniversary units yet at the time, because Xiaoqiu was the only dedicated unit for Acheron. But now Hoyo is fully invested in anniversary units, just from looking at how they designed Castorice and Silverwolf. And because of that, they designed Mortenak's blade to synergize really well with Acheron, even though they could just completely drop Acheron and design blade to only work with the future Mono Man team. I won't be surprised if they also made us a
Bro, I have no idea what you just said, bro. I literally have no what the actual I have no idea, bro. Bro, I have no what did he just say? Mono remembrance with blade. Bro, I have no idea what you're saying, bro. I have no idea what you're saying.
It's designed for another team, but also works really well with Acheron, and probably give her a global passive as well for her Nova Flare. Alright, enough about Acheron. Let's talk about the positive side of Anniversary Nova Flare. Really well with Acheron, and probably give her a global passive as well for her Nova Flare. Alright, enough about
that would be an insane Nova Flare actually. Just to bring Acheron to like anniversary unit standards, they just gave her Nova Flare.
And not only that, if a bunch of your friends has E2 Silverwolf, the urge for you to E2 your own Silverwolf is going to be very high.
Okay, you know what? This is honestly a very, very fair point. The thing is, right, realistically speaking, what I've come to notice is that this is probably a more common phenomenon in like normie communities. If you only play with like normie players who don't really think too much into like what the meta is like. I think a very nice example is like in real life. If I hang out with my friends, if one of my friends got an iPhone like 15, right, and then I'm using like a Samsung, then I'm like, oh shit, bro, I probably should get an iPhone 15, right? Because everyone is using iPhone 15. But that is like a very normie take, right? But if you were to like go online and then you see like everyone else, oh my god, bro, iPhone is trash, bro, fuck iPhone, right? Just use Android, use Oppo, use Xiaomi or whatever. Then it will be like a lot less of a one-dimensional choice of what you want to use. For a HSR in particular, I do feel that for like the mainstream, not online by the way, not Discord, not even YouTube or like Twitter, I feel like if you are talking about online HSR communities, right, you are already part of the minority of diving into other possibilities of how the game has been pushed out to mainstream audience. Right, like the fact that you will even look at Brightwin or like tier list or guide makers, right? It already shows that you're above and beyond for like, a lot of these like casual players. Because a lot of people in real life, they just don't care, bro. They log in for like 5-10 minutes and then just play like the latest flagship, and they don't care about like free or like 0 cost, 2 cost, 8 cost. They don't give a fuck. They just, okay, you know what? This E2 is insane. This is an anniversary. I pull and then boom, done. I beat the game, right? So by that sense, if you use this as a comparison, you will feel pressure. But the moment you want to use this on like the internet, on like a community online in which they are like way more diversified in like their opinions, as well as having more expertise as to how HSR's meta is going to be like, not just elation slop. Like for example, right, we already see such a big war online for like Silverwolf versus Evanesia. It is a huge topic of contention. Very much so like Firefly versus Forever, right? But if you go in real life, I don't really think people care that much. They're like, oh, E2 Silverwolf, and she has a global passive. And she's probably going to be following Castorice. I just got to pull. That's it, right? And on top of that, there are like other teams besides version 4 Elation, like the M-Blade Asheville or like whatever that's going to be. Himeko Nova when she comes out, right? How the fate is going to be. So there's like multiple ways in which you can feel a more distinct path of pulling HSR instead of that pressure for the anniversary unit. If you're part of that community, if you're watching this stream right now, you're part of the community because you're not just like Elation slot players or Mimo slot players, because slot is slot, right?
The urge for you to E2 your own silver wolf is going to be very high, resulting in you spending money or even more money than you originally wanted to. In version 1, the only E2 that is considered really strong is only Imbibitor Lune. But in version 2, we have Akron, Firefly and Fei Xiao, so that's 3 good E2s. And in version 3, we have Herta, Maide, Castorice, Hyacinth, Fidon, Evernight and Cyrene. So now it's 7. And in version 4, we already have 4 out of 6 characters that has a really good Eidolon too. The second reason are the endgames, specifically Anomaly Arbitration, Shielding Mechanics, and the HP Inflation. The last reason for it is the increasing amount of preset teams. Let me give you an example. If you really like the design of Castorice, you gotta pull for Hyacinth, cause that's her best sustain. And also, summon for Evernight as well, cause that's her second best teammate in the game. And don't forget to summon for Siren as well, cause she synergizes really well with all 3 of them. And after you get all of them, don't forget to get their E2s as well as life codes, cause they're broken as Of course it's fine to spend real money on games that you like, but please spend responsibly. Cause I've seen people spend so much on this game, even when their current financial situation is not at its best state, including my IRL friends. Hopefully they don't watch my videos.
Honestly, very nice quick little video by Buggo. HSR is slowly changing you. I'ma keep it about... Okay, I would say, as good as this video is, right? The inherent sense of feeling... Okay, I love this particular point, by the way. This particular point. Alright, the key word is essentially... Wait, let me get the Mimi's picture right here. Alright. This picture shows everything that goes behind the mechanics of this phrase called not Mimo Slop, but this picture symbolizes the phrase called might as well. You might as well get just one more sustain, because that is her best sustain. You might as well just get one more sub DPS, because that is her best sub. And you might as well get a Cyrene, and then you might as well get a and you might as well get, and you might as well just keep getting until eventually you assemble the full 24 cost Remembrance flagship, right? You might as well. Full E2 S1 times 4 by the one, right? But the thing with this might as well thing is because people look at this might as well situation from like a step-by-step basis. So you only see things like from Castorice to Hyacinth, that's just a +1 upgrade, right? So you might as well just get that +1 and then boom, you're done. But if you look at it from like a way bigger picture, instead of it's a might as well, it's more like, oh, I will probably end up doing even more than just this going forward in the future. I think the best way to illustrate this, right, is, for example, Elation main players in version 4, right? They made the support come out first before the DPS because they don't really want people to know exactly what supports that Elation DPS actually wants, with Yao Guan as well as Sparksy. So you can't really go and say you might as well get whatever that DPS is going to be, because you don't know what's afterwards. So because of this break in cycle, right, it is no longer DPS into sustain, into support, into the last support. It is like they give you the support first, and then you think about whether this support might or might not work with the DPS. But if you were to look at it from like a grand scheme of team building HSR, you don't just stop building a team at just 2 units, right? It's always team of 4. So you get that DPS, and then like, okay, if you were to have Hyacinth, that's fantastic. But are you really going to stick with the non-upgraded 2 other units? Because there will still be flaws in which these 2 units do not fully cover, or at least the team will not be as synergistic as compared to what might come going forward in the future. So for that particular case, when you look at team building from a full team of 4, instead of just 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1, then you can come to a closer expectations of what you would actually spend for that one entire team. Because okay, and we are not talking about like low cost zero cycles, right? The 3 cost, 2 cost, 4 cost, whatever. The low cost zero cycle is a completely separate topic because that is gonna be usually number 1, done with sustainers, number 2 with very, very good rates, and number 3, you're gonna have to grind a lot of RNG, right? But generally speaking, if you look at it from like a team building perspective in HSR, most, if not all units in that set version, they will have very, very similar performances at a similar cost investment. So if you have a 8 cost Remembrance against an 8 cost Final, against an 8 cost Mighty, 8 cost Anexa, 8 cost Eglea, like generally speaking, they wouldn't be so far between one another in terms of performance that you would say, oh my god, I am like so much worse than that next team within the same patch. Whereas like cross versions between like your Elation version in version 4 or like your Remembrance version in version 3, that is the different story. Because not only will have they gotten the shield environment, which is anti-Remembrance, they also got a shield environment which is pro-Elation, right? So as long as you look at it from that one version, if you committed it for that team with the same amount of like units that you were prepared to pull for, you will kind of find that a lot of these teams are essentially all the same. So whether is it going to be an anniversary unit +1, +1, +1, +1, which is like -1, or you just go, okay, you know what, boom, E2 final done, right? And then you get yourself like one Savija, and then she's going to be able to go across. Grand final summary wise, you will feel less FOMO to fall into this might as well mindset, because you are no longer looking at things from like a step-by-step perspective. So when you pull for a castorice, you are not just pulling for, okay, you know what, I just want to play castorice with like whatever kind of units that you have as of the moment. It's always like, okay, I have castorice, but like what comes afterwards? And then you always save costs for those who come after cinema, right? So for right now, if I was going to be an Elation main on my free-to-play account, which I'm not, because I skipped Elation, but if I was a Elation main, then in like, for example, if Bob starts on version 4, right, I wouldn't go like, okay, you know what, I am gonna pull for Yao Guang because she's a really, really good unit, and then I'm gonna pull for Sparksy because she's gonna work with Yao Guang, and I might as well pull for Silver Wolf because, you know, she works with very well, and I might as well pull for, no, it is more so I am already prepared, okay, I want to play Elation as a whole, the end. So this team, this Elation archetype, is something that I am mentally prepared for to spend that 4, 6, 8 cost, which I will then set aside to see what is gonna come. Which is why I also have a very strong opinion for players who want to pull for wheelchair units like Emblade. Because right now, let's just say, right, if you're a free play or you're light spender, and you only have enough pulls for one more unit, but you're also an Elation main. So would you rather spend that one cost for Emblade to have a wheelchair DPS or like a wheelchair style DPS for this current environment? But if you were to do that, that will be at the expense of what could potentially be a Elation sustain. Which, okay, at least it's not version 4.4, right? At least 4.4 is Himeko, so like, that's pretty safe. But in 4.5 and 4.6, are you really gonna skip on an Elation sustain and still use Hue with Silver Wolf? If you're like following this like Elation Flash account player, right? So if I can mentally set aside the pools that I have right now for not a might as well philosophy, but like a whole team's philosophy, I think that would be a lot easier to manage what I will be prepared to spend in terms of strategies and premium resources for team building as a whole, right? Because at the end of the day, version 5 is less than half a year away, right? We are already at like, what? We are already in the 2nd week of June, right? So by version 5, this entire cycle is going to repeat itself all over. And then when version 5 comes along and you're still halfway through building version 4, or God forbid version 3 or even version 2, then you will have like nothing left for version 5. Which means you're probably going to end up either feeling the FOMO even more because your team is absolutely fucking cooked. It's like half-cooked version 2, half-cooked version 3, half-cooked version 4. Then, oh my god, bro, my team just all sucks ass because they're all half-cooked. And you're like constantly chasing what comes after because you don't have enough time to save up and prepare for the grand picture. Since you're always saying, I might as well just get this. I might as well just get this. And then you have no savings left, right? So like, if my free-to-play account is gonna be going in the mindset of I have 500 limited pools, I have a 0 concern for elation, I want to see if my free-to-play account can get past version 4 into version 5 without pooling for nothing, such that by the time version 5 comes around, I can fully commit into whatever version 5 wants to throw at me, and I wouldn't feel that pressure of spending additional money since I would have stockpiled my pools a lot more preemptively compared to another person that is just going like, I'm putting this because I might as well. Right? If I were to lose every single 50-50 and I hard pity and all that kind of stuff, that is a completely separate issue because it could happen to anyone. But I would rather have my free-to-play account be like more prepared to be in a scenario in which it happens than be not prepared and I lose all my stellar jades and I still can't get that team because I ran out of costs, right? So that is going to be my 2 cents. I think this was a very, very interesting video. You know what? I'm going to call this entire event might as well. I don't think it's very fair to say every team will work because you have to think about how long some teams need to wait for their full team, blah, 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 blah. But Aguilera was shouted for almost the entire version. I remember his team is read them so hard, bro. The only thing that had a very short interval to the bench was final as well as remembers themselves. You know what? That is absolutely fair. That is very, very fair, right? So at the end of the day, if you want to have an easier time, there will always be that main push flagship for the casual audience. It is the path to least resistance, right? Even like in any other games, there will be that one way of having the least barrier to entry for the most optimal results. But if you talk about like elitism, right, how much work you need to make other teams compared to a more optimal team, then that's gonna be a different topic for a different group of people, right? Like you could just right click, press Master E, and then from silvers, or you could play like what's like a better example? What's like a high skill ceiling jungler? Z jungle, right? I don't even know if it's Z jungle, a Rengar jungle, right? Kaze jungle, right? Okay, a League is not really a good comparison because it's not a gacha game. But like some units will always have like easier time compared to others. But eventually, I feel at the end of the day, in a version 3, they will all middle out. So, and then what to do, right? Lux jungle, yeah, try running Lux jungle. Okay, very, very nice little quick yapping video. I would say before we do anomaly, sometimes playing the path with higher resistance than others is not necessarily a bad thing.
1 year of watching Mr. Faizayo.
Yo, Rion, thank you so much for the 1 year. Thank you so much. So, for example, right, I think if I take Bob's D Herta as an example, Bob D Herta is definitely nowhere near the performance of Bob's Remembrance. Even if I give D Herta 8 costs right now, I don't think D Herta can match up to 8 cost Remembrance because she has no good cost units relative to her current version. Right? Version 3, she only had a Nexa, that's it. And then version 1, she has nothing. Whereas for version 3, Remembrance Flagship, she had like a lot more. They are a lot more synergy. Right? Cost-wise anyways. But if I were to go and see how things shape out in the future, especially because like, okay, whether or not they buff like emanators and like they buff girlfriends or like marketing, that's like the marketing department companies, right? It is not fair to assume all units are made equal, since no units have the same marketing budget, right? See Evanesia's trailer duration compared to Silver Wolf. So I really just don't think Evanesia will have better performance long-term wise purely because of marketing. Then eventually when the Elasia thing comes out and then there's like more synergies with Silver Wolf and like Evanesia starts falling off, it is what it is. But it's not necessarily a bad thing to be a non-slop main push player, because even if you cannot clear the same or if like slower than another team at similar cost, you are still playing a PvE game called Honkai Star at the end of the day. You're still playing Star Rail in a PvE game. And even if you cannot clear that 0 cycle, 1 cycle, 2 cycle, God forbid, not even like 3 stars, it is not the end of the world. Let me know what you guys think in the thoughts and comments on this. It's a very, very quick little yapping video. We're just gonna ship it on the main channel. Yo, mods, I low-key realized I forgot to click record, so help me get this timestamp. Join Twitch, join Discord, use code POKE, Gamers. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank